Welcome to another GT eForms demonstration. Today we'll be looking at the Employee Service Agreement Hire eForm. This form was developed by Los Rios to hire brand new or rehire existing employees into an employee service agreement. This form will collect job data information, position funding, and will also have a section that will route to the employee to collect retirement and their relative information. Let's dive into the form to take a look. Authorized users begin by looking for the Los Rios HR eForms homepage and then clicking on the Start an ESA eForm. The first question they have to answer is, does this assignment require faculty minimum qualifications? If no, we've hidden the Submit button so that you can't submit this form as additional information is needed. If you answer yes to that question, you can click the Next button to go to the next page. On this page, we'll capture all of the demographic and job information for this employee. Starting first with the question of, is this a new hire? This form has the capability to handle a first-time ESA employee who is not actually a current employee already with Los Rios, or a first-time ESA employee who does happen to already have worked for Los Rios. Finally, this form can also handle a transaction for a user who is being rehired into an existing ESA position already. The authorized user will fill in the information that shows, including the demographic information. For this employee, we're going to go ahead and do a first-time ESA for a non-Los Rios employee. So we're going to collect all of the demographic information so that way this can update biodemo data once we're done. Next, we're going to start getting into the hiring information, starting with the ESA number. This is a 5-digit number that can contain alpha or numeric characters. You can see that the position number is empty when you search on it without a work location specified. So once that work location is filled, then the position numbers that match that work location will display. A division is also selected, and then the authorized user will go ahead and put in a fiscal year. Notice right now the compensation grid is empty, but after that fiscal year is entered, the summer term plus the next 3 terms will populate into the grid along with the start and end dates. This form can handle either a stipend or hourly rate, so the selection is made between those 2 choices, and then we get the class, grade, and step prompts that will appear so the user can select the correct one. For this example, we'll go ahead and do a stipend. And once the step is selected, you'll see on the left-hand side the full stipend amount is confirmed. The user then reviews the duties and compensations, and in the grid below can select which terms the stipend should be paid and the amount of stipend to be paid in that term. Calculations on the far left side will calculate the cost based on that percentage of stipend. We've also added some validations to make sure that the start and end dates are coinciding with the terms that is in that same row. And finally, if the 67% law or 60% rule applies, you'll see the FTE column in the grid on the far right side gets calculated when that field is set to yes. Next, you'll see the budget selection grid. That combo code pre-populates based on the position that was selected, so all the user has to do is put in the distribution amount. Finally, on this page, we have a detailed description box that appears for the authorized user to go ahead and input the description for this employee. And again, that validation is firing on that next button to confirm that those start and end dates actually fall within the spring 2023 semester. On the next page, we have some routing prompts. Here is where we have just an open prompt, so that way this authorized user can go ahead and select the ISA, the hiring manager, and then the authorized signer on the budget line. Those will then be used in the workflow as the actual routing steps. Finally, there's a human resources only page that will appear to authorized users. Here is where HR can confirm the data and be able to manually input that into the component. You can also see we have a list of required attachments that are notated with that red exclamation point for the various new hire forms that need to be attached to this request. Once the user uploads all of those required attachments, they can then submit this form. You can see we've also added a print button here that hooks into a BI publisher report. So that way any user in the workflow process, including the employee themselves, can print or save a PDF version of this form for their records. Here is also where you can see a copy of the email that we send out to the workflow users. And now let's go ahead and look at the form and evaluate. You can see for users, we have all of the fields read only except for that percentage of stipend field. It's the only item that we will allow a change on this form. And the workflow approvers can change the additional workflow approvers that come after them. Finally, reviewers also see this revision comments field. This field we are using instead of the standard comments field delivered with GT eForms. So that way we can insert that data directly into the email, but we can hide that field from the employee themselves. And you can see here is a copy of that revision email that shows those revision comments that then go back to the initiator in the recycle email. Thanks so much for watching this eForms demonstration.